Liz Tolentino with Keller Williams VIP Properties in Valencia.
Keith Reno, Wintrust Mortgage, welcome.
Hey, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I think it's been
2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you guys miss us?
Hopefully. Send us a like.
Please. So we've talked about pretty much everything regarding buyers. And one of the things that we haven't really kind of gone too in depth on is buyer cost and seller closing costs. So when purchasing or selling a property, there are costs. So buyers have their own closing costs and sellers have their own closing costs. And Keith, can you give us a little bit more information about what buyer closing costs look like?
Absolutely. So on the buyer side, as far as the cost, we typically will have a lender fee, and different lenders might have different fees, whether it's an admin fee, processing, underwriting. But you obviously, when you're comparing lenders, want to look at the overall lender fee, what they're in control over, and compare that to the interest rate, and that's typically a good start when you're comparing overall cost and rate.
Yep.
From there, on the buyer side for cost, you'll have title, escrow, paying for an appraisal, the notary at the time you're signing loan documents. Typically there's a recording fee with the county when the deed and the note are all being recorded.
Right.
So for our side, those are typically the standard ones for the lender. But then one thing that we don't charge, really we're not paying too close of attention to, but on your side of things, the home inspection.
Yes, so the home inspection is a cost, and actually home inspection, while it is a cost of buying a home, it's not necessarily a closing cost. And the reason why is because the home inspection is paid upfront, it's paid at the time of the inspection, and if for whatever reason that purchase doesn't work out, then you don't get that money back. You don't get the money back for the home inspection. And the same thing happens for the appraisal fee, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. Once the appraiser goes out and inspects the property, they work up the report, provide it back to us, and the appraisers do their fee, so that is a potential non-refundable cost.
Sure.
So on the buyer side, we have the closing costs, but then we also have prepaid expenses. And this is where sometimes causes some confusion because it's not technically labeled as a closing cost, but they are funds that are due out of the buyer's pocket when they're purchasing real estate.
Exactly, and prepaids are typically taxes, right, interest, right.
And so taxes, prepaid interest, and then insurance. So prepaying the first year of the insurance policy will come with your prepaids. That's
something to keep in mind, because even when you are paying your insurance policy through your escrow account, you still pay for the first year up front.
That's right.
Yes. Yep. All right.
All right, so cost, and then how about on the seller side?
So on the seller side, the typical cost for a seller are, escrow fees, title fees, because of course each party has their own escrow fees and title fees, and of course the seller does pay for the commission. So the seller pays for the commission for the listing agent and for what we call the selling agent, or the agent that brings the buyer for that specific property. So the seller is paying for that commission as well. And other fees that a seller pays are transfer fees, so real estate transfer fees for LA County. Thankfully, we live in an awesome town that doesn't have real estate transfer fees. And then any other fees related to actually, listing the property, which could be like, for example, your broker fee, a broker fee that is charged per transaction to a buyer or a seller.
And now on my side up front, I always present our buyers with an estimated closing estimate, so they see everything broken down. We go over all the numbers in black and white.
Yes.
And then when you're working with the seller, you provide them
a seller net sheet. So the seller net sheet, no one should ever go on a listing appointment without a seller net sheet. And if you are thinking about selling, make sure you're asking that agent for that net sheet, because that net sheet will break down each of the costs of selling the property, kind of your cost for doing business and your cost for selling that one specific property.
Yeah, all about educating yourself as a consumer.
Exactly.
You should be presented everything in black and white. Everything should be fully disclosed to you nowadays. Shouldn't be anything hidden. The person you're working with should be able to explain the rhyme to the reason and why certain fees are involved.
Exactly. Right.
And sign us off.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have any questions about these specific costs or anything else, we're here to help. Liz Tolentino with KW.
Keith Reno, Wintrust Mortgage.
Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, everyone.